Okay, so guys, before we get started with today's episode, let me give you guys a brief overview of what PathMonk is all about before we're jumping into the show. PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, more than 98% of all website visitors do not actually convert. And so your ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition. So PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where people are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. So stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your page in seconds, let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing the same as always. Check it out on pathmonk.com. In today's episode of the PathMonk Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Jill Truscott, and she's sitting over from the folks over at CarbonCure. And today we want to really deep dive what CarbonCure is all about and how they basically, and I like the tagline on the website, concrete that matters. It's basically a carbon removal technology. It helps concrete producers actually to build a stronger business and meet, of course, the sustainability demands that are surging at the moment. So rightfully so. So today we want to really deep dive with Jill into all of that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe you could give people like a quick overview. What is CarbonCure all about in your own words?
Yeah. So CarbonCure creates carbon removal technologies. We introduce recycled CO2 into fresh concrete, and that reduces its carbon footprint without compromising or affecting the performance of the concrete. Once the CO2 is injected, it undergoes a mineralization process and it becomes permanently embedded in the concrete. So that in turn results in economic and climate benefits for our producers. Thanks to the process, we also provide third-party verified carbon credits in voluntary carbon markets around the world.
That sounds really, really good. Now, tell us a little bit about the organizations that benefit the most. I mean, of course, you mentioned already, but maybe tell us about which companies, benefit most from CarbonCure.
So the issue is that the world's building stock is going to double by the year 2060. That's the equivalent of building an entire New York City every month for the next 40 years, right? So when we look at that building stock, we're not just talking about office towers. We're looking at roads and sewers, airports, highways, hospitals, everything, and they all use concrete. So we know that the world's not going to stop using concrete. But we need to find a way to keep on building to meet this demand without the same degree of GHG emissions that we've had in the past. So our target audiences and our target customers are anybody out there who is a building owner, producer, as well as all the concrete producers around the world.
Very clear, very true that this is super, super important. Now, who in those organizations would typically be the one that picks up on CarbonCure? Like, who is the one, like the champion within that, actually gets in touch with you guys and, brings it forward in their organization?
Well, CarbonCure affects a lot of different aspects of a business for concrete producers. So we'll resonate with quality control and mixed design engineers. They want to optimize their concrete mix. So they begin identifying the efficiencies and the elements of their concrete, and we help them with that. We also resonate with sustainability experts and ESG leaders. They need to identify tangible CO2 emissions within their businesses. We'll resonate with finance teams who manage procurement because they like being able to stretch their dollar a little further. And then we resonate with sales leaders because they are opened up to an opportunity to bid on low carbon products.
Yep, that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, how would you say, do these guys find you? Like, what's the journey looking like? How do they come across CarbonCure?
It's really a two-prong approach. We have a pretty significant presence thanks to our web marketing and our digital identity. And we also participate a ton in industry events. Okay,
that makes sense. Now, what would you say, you mentioned actually the digital presence is key for CarbonCure. How would you speak about the website? Like, what role does the website play in their journey, you would say?
I think the website is, it's a continual work in progress. It's evergreen. It can never be left static. And it's really, really important, especially at this stage in our business growth. The website offers a really good resource for all the technical data that our audiences need, from testing to research to white papers. And what's an additional bonus is that website lets us work with our peers in this space. So we're actually collaborating not just on a business level, but also on a research level.
Very cool. Yeah, I like to ask every marketer always, because, they're always critical about their own website. Like, what do you think would be the sort of a strengths of the page versus where do you see room for further improvement?
I think that, our website does a really good job highlighting our customer champions. We've got some great testimonials. We've got some great case studies. Our next step to continue learning and growing is to expand the technical data and the library. So we're actually taking steps now to make all of our data open sourced and make sure that all the academic and research audiences have access to it so that we can co-learn and engage with those experts and continue pushing the entire industry into a greener space.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, if we would maybe switch gears a little bit and talk about sort of your own journey as a marketer, your own daily work, like what would you be involved with on a daily basis? Maybe share a little bit about sort of a typical day that you would be working.
So right now, a typical day is built on empathy. We need to do continual research and updates in terms of the specific audiences that we want to touch with. We want to make sure that we're maintaining that transparency in all of our collateral that's going out. So for me, there's a lot of review, there's a lot of editing, and there's a lot of strategizing around the key value props that we want to highlight.
I see. Very cool. Now, let's maybe look at a little bit into, as we're slowly approaching sort of, the end of the interview, I would love to jump into our rapid fire questions where we learn a little bit more about the company. So maybe first, and yourself as a marketer, actually. First and foremost, what have been the last book or the last podcast you've been reading or listening to?
I have actually been reading a book about prehistoric Neanderthals and how they communicated, what the impact of spirituality was in terms of cave painting.
That's actually very cool. We're actually recording this episode here from Düsseldorf, Germany, where the Neanderthal is actually just right here, like 20 minutes from here, the actual Neanderthal.
I would love to see that.
Very cool. Now, next question. What would be the one main focus that CarbonCure is focusing on the most about?
I would say it is facilitating access to low carbon concrete in the built environment.
Very short and succinct. Now, you as a marketer, if you would be handed a magic wand, and if there would be one thing that you could fix as a marketer today, what would be the one thing that you would fix for your role as a marketer?
I would normalize embracing vulnerability. Getting all of us as marketers to get okay with saying we don't know the answer right now, that we want to learn from each other, asking for advice and feedback, and continuing to push each other to be better.
I really appreciate that, because that's in a way sort of the mantra of these podcasts as well, right? That marketers share their insights with each other. So really appreciate that. Now, if there would be one task, maybe a mundane, repetitive task that you could happily hand away as a marketer, which task would that be?
I think for me, it would be planning event participation. There's a lot of moving parts for an event. So I'm happy to leave the experts with that.
Very true. For the very last question, if today would be your very first day joining Concrete or CarbonCure, what would be the one advice that you would give yourself for the journey?
I would say tap into the experts that are available online, especially on LinkedIn. There are so many great marketers out there, and they are feeding out information to all of us continually. So it's a constant, valuable source.
Any advice for maybe marketers that are in earlier stages of their career? Like, is there certain experts that you would find out? Would you actually contact them? Like, what's something that you've learned over the years that was helpful for yourself?
I think one is being sure that you can teach your peers within your organization what marketing is and what your goals are. We tend to stay in our silos from time to time, and there may be other parts of your team that really don't get it. So make time to sit down and have a coffee, share some ideas, explain what your goals are, and you can learn a lot.
I really appreciate you joining us today to give us an insight on CarbonCure, what you guys are all about. There's so much more to explore, guys. If you're listening in and you want to explore it a little bit further, you can just head over to carboncure.com and get a full insight into what we've just been discussing today. I want to give you the very last word, Jill. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed today on CarbonCure, what's the one single thing that people should remember? That concrete does matter, and that it offers a really good opportunity for us to change the way that we build. Thanks a lot for being a guest on PathMonk Presents. Thanks, Lucas.